We just picked up some new rims for the Tacoma. We are going from 18 by 10s to 20 by 12s. So we're going to talk about those. We're going to see how they clear. We're going to see what you need to clear them. We're going to talk about the offset. Pulled one of my drift rims out here. Let's hit something really basic first, okay? Let's talk about exactly what makes up the rim and tire itself. Now, I'm guilty of this. I call these rims and tires. This is actually a wheel and tire setup. So there's three parts to a wheel, one of those parts being a rim. You've got your hub, you've got your spoke, and then you've got your rim, which is the outermost part of the wheel that holds on the tire. So technically when you reference rim, you're only talking about this outer lip. So what exactly is an offset? An offset is the distance that something is out of line. Well, what exactly does that mean? Well, for an offset, you have to determine 2 points to figure out what exactly your offset is. Now, you want to find the centermost point of your wheel. Now, this is based off of the wheel itself. It has nothing to do with the tire. So remember that. Your offset has nothing to do with your tire. It's only your wheel. But you can determine what your offset is with a tire on your wheel. That doesn't matter. So what they mean when they say offset is you take the centermost point of your wheel, okay, and we're just going to say it's this line because that looks like the middle of the actual tire. So centermost point of your wheel and where exactly the hub sits on the wheel. Now, what do I mean by that? So your hub on different rims can sit anywhere in this distance, and that is what determines your offset. So your centermost point, let's say that hub mounts up right here on the wheel. Your offset is the distance between this point and this point. And they measure it in millimeters. So whatever the distance in millimeters from here to here is, that is going to be your offset. Now, what type of offset do you have? Negative or positive? Well, if your offset is dead on this line, obviously you have a zero offset. This side of the line is the truck side of the wheel. That is negative. This side is the curb side or outermost side of the rim, and that is your positive. Any distance that hub comes out this way, it is a positive offset, and then the distance between this point and wherever it rests is how many millimeters of an offset you have. Same with this way. But these would be negative. So wherever the hub rests out here is going to determine your negative offset. What you'll find is with positive offsets, you'll usually have rims that don't have much of a lip, like this rim right here. This is a positive offset rim. There's not much lip on this at all. You will notice that on negative offset rims, you have deep dish rims or big lips because the hub rests so far back off of the wheel. These have a negative 44 offset. So you can see how big the dish is on these. It's got a really big offset. This is a 5.5 inch lip. That hub sits so far back, it's giving me that large of an offset. If you look at the rear, see how the rears poke out? A lot of people think that if your rim sits out of the truck more, you'll have more clearance because you're not in the wheel well. Well, that's actually not the case unless you're running spacers or something that puts your wheel so far out it doesn't even interact with the fender itself, which at that point you kind of look like a bro. So why is that? Why is a negative offset? Why is it when the tire sits out more, does it have more of a chance to rub? Well, let's look at this. What I did is I measured the distance of the actual rim itself from point to point, and I found the centermost point of the rim, which was 8.5 inches, okay? I made a mark at dead center of the wheel, all right? Now what I did, so I have a piece of sheet metal here. It is a 2 foot long piece of sheet metal. I marked it in the middle, 12 inches. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this as an example of what our wheel well is doing and what our tire is doing when we turn. So you can get an idea of exactly how the offset affects the way that you rub and clear on your truck. Now let's just say you have a zero offset on your wheel. Now, if we look at the fender here, from the dead center point, this is how much fender we have to clear. As we turn with zero offset, you'll see that you have fender up to that point, and you haven't turned much, and you've already cleared the lip of your fender, and then everything else as you turn doesn't rub the fender. It won't hit the fender because you've already cleared. When you start moving toward a negative offset, which would mean your mounting point of your rim and your hub are out further this way, when you line that up dead center, you've now moved the travel distance of your wheel inward. So as your fender moves, if you watch when you turn, as you turn, see how you're losing fender? At this point, you're probably rubbing your fender now because you've increased the distance between the hub point and the fender itself. This distance has now increased. There's a larger travel distance. Sure, once you get to this point, you've probably cleared it, so you might rub here and then not as you come out this way. If you're a positive offset, okay, let's put you on a positive offset, your fender starts so far out on the tire, as you turn, you don't have to turn much and you've already cleared the fender. You're barely turning and you've cleared the fender. All right, so the more negative you go with an offset, the better the chances are with your increased travel distance that you're going to end up rubbing on your fender.